Welcome, welcome. Okay, ladies, this is our 20th episode today. Like, big milestone. We have made it into 20 episodes.
Oh my,
I don't
wow.
I don't understand how quickly time just flies. What my mom kept saying, it's going to go faster the older you get. It is so true. I cannot believe 5 months. Are you serious, ladies?
I know. I can remember the day that I found out, we were doing this talk show, and I was so excited. And to think that we're 20 shows in, and just all the people we've met through the show, and all the things that we have learned. I never dreamed I would be making floral ice and ice buckets, and today learning how to paint as well.
Yeah.
I know it's
Yeah.
been a wonderful journey. And I mean, Dionne was our first guest. And I remember that show. I was so nervous. I had to meditate, I had to do breathing
Yes, I remember.
exercises. And now I look forward to this Friday morning, hanging with you girls, meeting our guests, having a great time.
Yeah.
Wow. It's an
Yeah,
amazing journey.
yes. Well, welcome
Yeah, me
everyone
too.
that is joining us. I'm Kara Jamison. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Flowers and Friends talk show. I'm a cut flower grower and educator, and also on Bloom TV as well. Anna, how about you? Tell them about yourself.
Yes, I'm a floral designer. I love promoting the joy of living with flowers. I have a mini series on Bloom TV that's called The Joy of Living with Flowers. And I also have another episode on the magic of edible flowers. Really, what I'm into is having you guys to make flowers a part of your everyday life, not just special occasions, but every day bring flowers to the table. And we have the lovely Dionne with us.
Oh, you guys. You've just I think about you guys through the week and I think, well, I wonder what the ladies are doing and I hope they're having a good week and I can't wait to catch up with them on Friday. So you've truly become such a huge part of my week. And the other experts at Bloom, they'll come on and they'll share with what they're doing and what's upcoming. And I think, well, I wonder how that went. And would that be weird if I messaged them? And then I know it wouldn't be weird, but then I forget. And it's become such a big part of my week. And I'm like you, Kara, and Anna both. We've learned so much.
Mhm.
I found myself this week with my son's girlfriend of 4 years. They've been dating, and she said to me, "If I come over, will you show me how to make an ice bucket?"
Oh, I saw your Facebook Live on that. I loved it.
I was like, one, it's a girl at my house wanting to learn something
Oh,
from
yeah,
me because those
right.
boys don't care. And then I thought, two, yes, I get to go do this again. And so I asked Matt to buy the supplies, and he bought enough for two more. So we
Right.
have two, and I'm waiting for her to come back. And she said, let's do a part two where, and she wants to film content. And I am just over the moon because none of that would happen if, Danielle was featured in my magazine, you doing a bucket.
Uh-huh.
And then of course Christy came on and did it with us. And so it's just kind of opened up a whole new world that seems to
Yeah.
kind of be tumbling into different avenues.
Right.
And so for those of you popping on here, thank you for being here. This is our 20th episode. So we're celebrating, you know me, and I'm every once in a while the
Dancing.
dance, like look at
Right.
it, like this is what we do. It's time is flying by. We're having such a wonderful time together. We've asked for you to pass this video around, share it with your friends. We've been here every single Friday at 12 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Pacific. And my name, I'm the third co-host, and I am Dionne Woods. I am the owner, artist. The Turquoise Iris is my brand. And over the last few years, I have become a creative mentor, business coach. I'm leaving on Sunday for my Courage on Canvas art retreat, and I get to host in Kansas City, Missouri. So we have several retreats in the fall, and honestly, I just found myself this week prepping for that, thinking about Nina, and thinking, I do acrylic and I'm just diving into watercolor. I've really been intimidated by oil. And so I'm really excited to have her on as a guest, ladies. But I have to ask you before we move on, do you notice anything different about me today? Come on,
Yes, there's no
ladies.
your eyes. Your eyes.
False eyelashes on? I don't know.
Yes. Yes. So I thought today's a big day because I put my falsies on for the ladies.
Oh, I love it. I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah,
So
I'm dying
these
to
are
try that.
simple. These are simple. So my friend came out with her own line, and so I have multiple boxes. But you just put the liner on, ladies, and it's magnetic. So
Oh, I've heard
I've
of
heard
those.
about those.
it
Okay.
just sticks to the liquid once the liquid's dry. But I put them on, and I thought, I wonder if anybody will say anything.
Oh my God, I'm gonna try it next week. Definitely have to, because I've been thinking about that since we started the show. And my daughter is like, "Mom, you have to do it. Let me do it for you." And
Well,
I'm like, "No, what if it doesn't look good?" But
I've
gonna
never
do
done it. Like I just started doing that occasionally. And I would do them at a workshop or something when I knew I was going to have to take a bunch of pictures, but I've never worn them in my life until very, very recently. It's just one of those things, but I was like, hello, ladies. I'm remember you.
Oh, that's so much fun. Why don't we keep on dancing and get our intro video on the screen?
Let's go.
Love it.
That's the best. That's the best theme song. I need to find out whoever that producer is and make myself a theme song.
I know.
Kara, what have you been up to today? I mean, this whole week? What have you been doing?
So this whole week, one of the things I'm doing, so since I plant a lot of cut flowers, I've actually been ripping out a lot of my fields that have been growing during the summer and that are tired, and putting new compost down to plant more flowers later on this summer. So that has been a job. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of ragweed. It's a weed that a lot of people are allergic to. It's in full bloom, well, almost full bloom here in Tennessee, and boy, I've been dealing with that this week.
Absolutely. What about you, Anna? What have you been up to this week?
I've been something that has nothing to do with flowers because the heat is awful. Well, I'm in San Diego, so we're not used to heat, but I've been doing ice therapy,
I've been watching this on Instagram, and I'm like, no, like
I'm addicted to it now. I do it like every day, and I love it. And
what's to love about that?
Wait, you got to tell them, what is ice therapy? Give them a picture. What are you in?
Okay, so there is this big bucket, but it's not a bucket. What's it called?
It's like a galvanized trough that the animals would drink out of.
Exactly.
Don't tell me you're getting in it. Don't tell me you're getting in it.
And the water is at 2 degrees. No, but
no.
And so the best part is that you do some breathing techniques. That's the magic.
I bet you do.
Yeah, you do.
Breathing techniques. And it puts, the magic of this, that you go into immediate shock.
Okay.
That's how you say it?
Shock, yeah.
And then with breathing, you take control of the situation.
Okay.
And after just 30 seconds, you no longer feel the cold if you're doing the breathing correctly.
Okay.
So I've been able to stay there for 5 minutes, perfectly in my Zen zone. And here's the magic of it. Later on the day, when one of my kids start to get on my nerves, or when something unexpected happens, I just start breathing, and immediately I can go into my Zen. And this is the magic. Because the ice is so cold, so you're reprogramming yourself as to, if I was able to survive the ice, I can survive anything. And so it's pretty
Wow.
magical. And besides, it has so many health benefits. So that's what I've been into.
Can I do the same thing in a hot tub?
No. And then I've been taking cold showers.
I know. Okay.
You've been taking cold showers too. I mean, that seems like you just took it up a notch. Like you went really extreme by going into the home
That's
home
me.
showers.
Okay.
I'm the extreme girl.
Well,
Anyway.
I've learned something new today about ice therapy, and I'm also going to learn something else new that I personally don't know anything about today. So we are going to welcome Miss Nina Bell of Nina Bell Designs on. She is an artist. Oh, let's say hello to her first. Let's bring her on.
Let's get her on here. And then
Hi.
Hi,
Thank you for having me.
Nina, your setup is just beautiful there.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, we're thrilled to learn from you today. I'm an acrylic artist, so oil has always been incredibly intimidating. I think about, in my mind, I feel like you have to have all these extra tools, these extra ingredients and solvents. And I know that that's probably not the case. But I know you're going to walk us through in just a few minutes, us through like setting up. And I mean, you have a blank canvas here. You're going to show us kind of how to started underpainting and talk to us about composition and lighting, you all. So in the comments, we have posted Nina's link, and we'll post that on the screen as well here in a few minutes. But I think we have a little video clip that we can run that will kind of give you guys a little bit of idea what you'll see on Bloom TV with Nina as well.
Something new to me was the flamboyant tree, which is a tall, wide-stretching tree that has bright orange-red flowers. It's growing all over in the Virgin Islands, and it's the first thing that I wanted to get into my travel journal on this trip. The nice thing about journaling with paint is that the purpose of it isn't to give to somebody or to frame and put on a wall. It's just for you to have personally, so you don't have to worry about creating a masterpiece. You can just be mindful and enjoy the process of painting and getting some color and paint down to paper. The flamboyant trees grow up to 15 feet tall, and their branches spread out really wide. So you have this beautiful view from above of these bright orange-red spots around you on the island, but also walking under them from below, it's so beautiful to have that canopy of bright red, orange right above your head. Such a pretty place. The reason I use watercolor paints when I travel is because they have the quality of being able to dry and re-wet over and over again. So they're easy to put the pans into a little travel palette and stick in your bag or pocket and go with you wherever you go.
I want more, please.
Please. It was so pretty there. It's easy to find like good shots of beautiful spaces to paint. But yeah, the watercolors are a very different experience than painting with oils. And so it's nice to just have a chance to do each one. And oils definitely stay here. They don't travel with me.
They stay there. Well, Nina, tell us what you are going to be showing us today. And I just have to say, I've been watching the comments, and there have been several people that have said they are very excited about the show today, that they are excited to learn how to do this.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm going to be painting lilies. I have these this pretty bouquet of lilies over here, and I'll be showing how I begin a painting and how I compose my canvas, where I keep everything, and then looking at the shapes and colors and lighting. But before that, I'll show you a little bit of my finished work. And
Nina, will you also tell everybody kind of where you are, kind of your background as far as like
Sure.
what you do?
Yeah, I live near Richmond, Virginia, and I've been painting for a really long time, ever since I was a kid. And I went to James Madison University for my BFA. And then right now I'm in a librarianship class to be a school librarian. So I brought some books about the things that inspire me.
Great.
And this one is The Secret Lives of Color. And it's one of my favorite books to flip through when I'm starting a piece because it has these really cool facts about different colors and it's inspirational.
Oh, wonderful. So The Secret Lives of Color.
The Secret Lives of Color, Cassia St. Clair.
I'm definitely going to get that because I love
It's so
hoarding
pretty. And then, so this is the page
floral.
on saffron, and it has like the color on the edges, and then just really interesting facts. This page talks
Great.
about how expensive saffron is, and if you don't know, it grows in a crocus. So it's this violet flower, and then the little stamens in there are what you get the spice saffron from, and that pretty color.
I had no idea. Thank
And
you.
I marked that page today because I'm going to pull these lilies over.
Oh, great.
If you see the little anthers on them,
Oh, beautiful.
they're that same saffron color. They're so pretty. So
Oh, wow.
I know some people cut them off
Yeah.
so that it doesn't get everywhere because it definitely stains.
Uh-huh.
But I really like them, so I wanted to leave them on and get them in my painting and have that color.
Really beautiful. Okay. So show it. So you have some more books.
So this is another book that I like the language of flowers, the history of the Victorian meanings and symbolism. And it's something I really think about when I'm painting flowers. Even if it's not in the title or nobody else knows, I just like to personally know the meaning of the flowers that I'm putting into a piece. So that book has a lot of great information.
Show us the painting you're doing, inspired on the
Okay, yes.
language of flowers.
This is a painting that I'm working on now. And it has peonies, which mean hardiness. And the reason I'm doing the all of the meanings of these flowers is because it's going to be hanging in a social services building in the visitation room. So families will be reuniting there. Maybe kids would be sleeping there overnight if needed in an emergency. So this painting is supposed to have a lot of meaning. And hopefully, yeah. So the peonies are for hardiness.
Beautiful.
The white lilacs mean youth. And then this one's kind of unfinished, but it's a hawthorn branch. And the hawthorn branches mean hope.
Oh,
Really?
Honey, that's just so beautiful. I know you said you're not done with it, but it does already just look extraordinary to us, all of us watching. Honey, that's beautiful.
I definitely work slowly and I build up layer by layer. And so it takes a while. But I think that you can really see that, the finished piece. I'll show. I have a painting. It's not of flowers, but this one's of my dog.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Oh,
And when I do my underpainting, I use colors that are a little bit unexpected. And my finished piece is much more toned down, but you can still see some of the underneath. There's a little bit of blues, especially on the side here, turquoise coming through. And I think it gives it a lot more interest. So when I do my underpainting, I make sure I use some bright, bold colors that I might cover most of it up, but it still peeks out.
Oh, I love that you do it unexpected and that you do your own thing. I really love that.
Let me show. This is one other one I'll show you before I start painting. This is a painting, a still life I did, and it has one of my favorite books, a Van Gogh book. I have a page open to it. And then this is my little journal, like the travel journal that I had in that video. And it's of a hydrangea. And I have the little meanings and then the hydrangea flowers in a window. And I just really like to keep working on something over and over and changing things. I think it's something that I had to learn in class when I was taking oil painting classes. One of our teachers had us paint the room every day. We'd come in and set up our canvas and paint what we saw, the students, the room, and then the next class, we had to paint on top of it to change, people changed clothes, changed spots, and we worked on it over and over for weeks and just had to keep painting over stuff we had already painted. And I think
Was that hard?
It was really hard at first.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Definitely a letting go technique.
Yeah, especially if you had, it's hard to paint a likeness of someone. So if you felt you had it and then they moved, you had to start over. But it was really good for me because sometimes you need to change something and you don't want to change it because you have it there and you've worked on it hard. And it's good to be able to cover it up and fix it if it needs fixing.
Oh, I agree. Nina, we do something very similar to that at my retreats. I have the ladies come up and then paint over each other's work.
Oh, that's hard too.
That's hard.
I'm like, come up here, paint. I'm like, you come on up here now because it's a lesson of not getting too attached to something and really building up your layers and waiting for the ending. So it's a great
also
lesson.
Have to be. I guess it teaches you to be bold because you have to cover up someone else's work. That takes some confidence.
Well, and it also takes trust. You have to be able
Yeah.
to trust each other. And so you have to come up going, okay, I love you. This is not personal. I'm gonna paint over this section. But it's building trust as well in a community.
Yeah, I think
Love
that's a
that.
really
Yeah.
good exercise.
Love that.
So to get started, I'm going to show you what I'll be mixing up.
Great.
And I don't use any black when I start. I do all my shadows with violet or ultramarine or some burnt umber.
Okay.
And I think that that helps because it shows like the other colors when you're building up, you see these brighter colors showing through instead of black and white.
Yeah. I love that you said your violet. I love you said your shadows are with your violet. So do you mix a little black into it or you mix a little gray?
I'll mix some of the burnt umber into it sometimes.
Awesome.
Or if I want to tone it down, I'll do some yellow. Since that's the opposite on the color wheel, it'll tone it down and make it a little muddier.
Oh, yes.
Trying to get this the right angle so you can see. But when I mix my greens, I usually mix the ultramarine blue and some cadmium yellow. And that's the bright green color that I'll use for the middles, like the middle shade. And sometimes I'll tone that down with a little bit of red because red and green are opposites on the color wheel.
Mm-hmm. And that
And
kind
so
of
it's a little,
muted
yeah, a
shade.
little earthier,
Yeah.
more like a real plant and not so bright. And I'll use that in all of when I'm blocking in. So for my underpainting, I'll do a lot of blocking in on the leaves with that tone. And then I'll do my highlights with the cadmium yellow and white. And then for the actual flowers, the lilies over here, I'll use straight red, this cadmium red, and some white.
Okay.
And I'm not toning that down too much. Are you able to see the color? It has some
Yeah.
green already mixing in for my palette knife, but I leave it really bright again so that it shows through because my top layers I'll be muting and toning down, making them earthy, but the little peaks of bright pink will be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a really great mix the way that you do that. So most of your colors you're toning down and doing a more subtle version, but with the red and the pink, you want to keep that pretty bold. Of course, it's lily, so you want those to really just pop out at you, right?
Yes, and then they'll be kind of the focal point. They'll be brighter. I don't like everything. I like it to balance, so it gives it some balance to have some bright, bold colors and then some muted. And then the shadows, like I had said, I'll do some burnt umber with the violet for some of the shadows.
Oh, honey. So when you start mixing up your palette for oil paint, how long does your oil paint stay fresh and wet and workable?
It'll stay, if you leave it out, it's going to start getting a film over it as the top layer dries. But if you put it into something airtight, it'll last for a really long time, especially these big chunky areas. They're going to last for a few weeks.
Okay. That's so great.
All right.
So with the underpainting, you use untraditional colors for underpainting? Is that what you?
Yes, and it's hard sometimes to not just go for what you see. So I'll mix it up, and if I notice that I'm starting to be a little bit too realistic with it, I'll throw in some bolder colors so that my underpainting has some brightness to it. And I also use my solvent to water down these paints when I'm painting my underpainting because it thins it down and it dries faster. And I don't like to have a lot of impasto thick areas on the underpainting because I want that to be my top layers where I'm building it up more. So I want it to be really thin down, watery, and just an easier sketchy kind of look.
Okay.
But then after that, I'll get rid of my solvent. I'll put that away because it smells and it's just a chemical to have around. And I'll use solvent-free methods for the rest of the layers. So I'll get started.
Okay, great.
First, I'll show you how I set up my still life.
Okay.
So when I'm painting from nature, I'll usually have natural light. And today I have a light since I don't have a window right here.
Okay.
And I just angle that so that the shadows look interesting and the highlighted areas look interesting. And with these lilies, like I said, I like that saffron. So I'm making sure that some of that has a bright highlight from the light hitting it.
Oh, that's a good thing to know about lighting. Very fascinating to me.
It's easier to see the shapes too. So if you look at it as a flower, you'll probably start painting like what your brain thinks a flower should look like. But if you break it down in your mind into like all the little shapes and angles, it'll look a lot more realistic on your canvas because your brain's not, telling you what it should look like. You're actually looking at what's there. And I use a really wide brush to start. And I'm just going to get started on the shadows first and block in with that violet color.
So Nina, as you are starting the painting, Rachel has asked, can the extenders and solvents be named? There are so many with oil. They are a bit intimidated by the process.
So the ones that I use Gamsol for my solvent. It's supposed to be odorless.
Okay.
It's definitely a lot better than just using a straight paint thinner. And when I'm not using solvents, I use the Gamblin solvent-free gel as my thickener. And then to thin down the paints, I use the solvent-free fluid from Gamblin.
From Gamblin?
That's also from Gamblin, yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that information. That Rachel will appreciate that too, and so will everybody else. I wrote it down too. Okay, so this custom color that you're doing for the underpainting.
So this is it's mostly burnt umber, and it's really watered down, so it's going to be drippy and messier. But when I'm doing this, I work a little bit fast on my underpainting because especially if you're going with natural light, things will start to change. So I just like to block in my basic idea. And I also take pictures with my phone of what I'm working on from the exact angle I'm looking at it so that I can go back and see what I'm doing.
Genius. Yes.
This is the big shadow. That's like the first thing I kind of see other than the flowers when I look at this over here. I see that shadow of the light hitting the base and then making that on the table. And then it continues onto the wall. And that's the next, other than the focus point, that's another really interesting area of the painting because that shadow makes that shape on the wall. So I'm just blocking in with the burnt umber and some violet.
I just want to let you know that I'm not a painter. I have a really hard time painting, but I'm loving listening to you. It's so soothing and relaxing. And I'm like, oh my God, I love it.
It is fun. It's fun to watch people do something that they like to do and listen.
It is. And I think it's because we're all habitual, like we are all compulsive or a bit habitual about learning things. I say those words as pretty dramatic because we're all just mesmerized. And so if we get quiet, it's because we are thoroughly enjoying what you're doing.
Yes,
totally.
And I'm definitely exaggerating what I'm looking at here because it'll help me later. But then when I go in the later layers, I'll be blending in. If you look at the actual lilies in the shadow, it's really subtle and it blends from dark to light. And then I have a hard shadow here. It just helps me to know what I'm painting later on, but I'll go in and be blending the upper layers and it'll be a lot more subtle.
Okay. And the intention of the underpainting is to not just cover up the white, but just to kind of frame out where you're going to be, or how do you describe why?
Yeah, I know some people use it to really bring out all the values and tones of where the shadows and highlights will be. And I kind of do that, but I'm also doing it to look at if I like the composition, if I want to change something before I get started on all the detail and to add something different. That's why I do the brighter colors because it's just like an extra little thing that it's not planned and not technical, I guess. It's just something that can happen.
Sure. I love that.
So as someone, I don't know much about painting, I would have tried to paint the flowers first.
So it's another way to kind of trick your brain to start with something that you wouldn't, or something that you don't know what the shadow of it's going to look like without looking right at it. So it makes you paint what you're looking at, I guess.
Okay, so this is like the background, and then you're going to put
the
on top of it, right?
So this is that shadow there, and now I'm going to use a smaller brush.
Oh, I see. It's the shadow. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, this is the shadow. I know. You're probably like, what is happening in this painting? It's just a purple mess.
Okay.
And then when I go in for my flowers, I'm going to kind of sketch the whole outline with this pink of the whole area as a
Okay.
whole, and then go in and do individual. So when I'm looking at it, it's overhanging this way, and my base is going to be right here. So you can kind of see where I'm at.
Ah, okay,
And
yes.
then this is the edge of the table here. So you can see that better. And
Yeah,
I'm
no,
looking at my
beautiful.
screen because I can't see around here as quite
Yeah.
as well.
Gives such a more realistic look the way you're doing your shadow with your underpainting too.
Yeah.
It
So
just,
these are like the snapdragons that are sticking out the top.
Okay.
And this is just the lily hanging over here.
So you were just outlining all of the flowers.
This is just the main outline, and it helps you to have somewhere to start, you know, kind of where you're headed
Uh-huh.
before you do any detail.
Nina,
Okay,
why
so
did
now
you
that I
fall in
have-
love with flowers? Why flowers, Nina?
How did I fall in love with flowers?
Yes. Like,
So
when did that love
I-
begin?
I love gardening and growing flowers, and so that was part of it. But I also read a book called The Language of Flowers, not the history book I showed, but a novel. And it's about a girl who grew up in foster care, and she never had a family. She grew up all through foster care, and then aged out. And at 18, she started. She found out about the Victorian language of flowers, and she started communicating and like connecting with people through these bouquets that had a meaning to them. And I loved the whole idea of that, and I got really into the meanings of flowers and communicating through flowers. So that was definitely a big influence. And that one's by Vanessa Diffenbaugh.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, it is.
So this is the one big lily on the side there with the 5 petals, just blocking it in with a medium pink.
Okay.
And then I'll go back in with some shadows and details.
Oh,
And I'm
So-
still thinning it down.
If I wanted to paint with oils, do you recommend a first like set of oils? Like, are there levels or are they all the same?
There's a lot of different levels. You can go from
Okay.
really cheap to really expensive.
Okay.
And if you go into a craft store, I think that they have it set up usually where like the lower end all the way to the high end.
Okay.
And I like the Gamblin colors a lot. And I think that they have a lower end line that's a little bit cheaper for getting started.
Okay.
Do you think that a good place to start for somebody would be 12 colors? Because you mix so many of your own. Do you think 12 colors, like a basic set, is a good place to
Yeah,
start?
I think you could even go lower than 12. There's probably sets of 6 out there that you could mix a lot of stuff with.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. How do you
Yeah.
name your paintings, Nina?
That's one of the hardest things for me. Naming and pricing are the hardest 2 things, and I don't know. I don't even know where it comes from. I look at the meaning. I look at the colors. I think about where I painted it at, and I just
Me
try
too.
to. Yeah.
So you said pricing. So where can people find your paintings if they wanted to purchase them?
I have some at a few galleries around Richmond. One is Crossroads, and I also have a website, ninabelldesigns.com, where I have my paintings for sale.
All right.
Before I get too far on the flowers, I'm going to do a shadow actually, but before I get too far, I'll go ahead and show a couple leaves so you can see that green color, because I don't know how long we have and how far I'll get on this before.
everyone's loving everything. Everyone's like, oh, this is so soothing. This is so wonderful. This is so positive and enlightening.
Oh my God.
People are loving seeing you paint and listening.
It's hard. It's a lot harder to do it from the side here instead of standing directly in front of it. So
Yes.
So when I do a leaf, this is that ultramarine and yellow, a really medium color.
I love that shade of green you're making. I
Pretty.
love that emerald green like that. Someone is asking, how long do the paints stay open once applied to your canvas, Nina?
Before they start drying.
Yeah.
This layer will dry in a few days because it has so much solvent. It's so thin. Thicker layers, like the thick layers like Van Gogh, the impasto, those could take a really long time to dry. I think that he kept his under his bed drying for a year.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'm
When
an
I do the
impatient.
shadows, I'm just kind of looking at where the light hits. It's dry to the touch before that, but to completely cure it takes a long
Yeah,
time.
right.
I'm just looking at the shadows. I'm putting them in with the ultramarine blue, just completely straight blue.
Okay.
And then I'll go back into that leaf with yellow
As
for
a
the highlight.
highlighter.
And it'll mix, it'll pull up and turn kind of green. But
I'd love to know how long it usually takes for you to start a painting and say, okay, this is done.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's another hard thing, is figuring out when you're finished and stopping before you go too far on a painting. But I keep my canvases on this easel, and after about a month is when I start getting ready to move on to something new. And so I'll try my hardest to have it done within the month so that I have something new on my canvas, on my easel to work on. So usually about a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
And being a mom of three, going to school and all that, do you have like a specific time when you paint? Are there any dates, or how do you go about it?
I usually leave it up on my easel so that whenever I'm walking by the room, I'll see it and work on it when I have a minute. And it's always different. It's hard. It's really hard to schedule it in. So it's whenever I have some free time, and it's nice to have it. I'm in the downstairs of my house right by my front door, and there's glass doors to this studio. So I'll see it, and I'll see something that I want to change. And if I have a minute, I can stop and paint for a little while. That's another good thing about oils, is they take so long to dry that there's plenty of time to still go back and blend layers and not worry about getting it all done at once.
Wow.
I think you have to be more disciplined. I think you're clearly more disciplined than myself as well, because I just think about, I like acrylics because they dry fast, and the
Yeah.
reason is, Nina, I like to move on to the next project quickly. You know, I like to start, go, be done, and start a new one. And so
Yeah,
when you
that's
say
true. I didn't see that.
yeah, it's I think if I had a month before a painting was finished, I'm worried that I don't know if it's just not naive or inexperienced, but I'm worried that I would be bored with it, or I wouldn't want to finish it.
I think it can happen, and I'll sometimes get bored with something. I have some down here that are unfinished that I got bored with and just tucked away. But I could always pull them out and finish them if I feel like inspired to finish those ones.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
sure
always fine to just move on. If it's not working or you want to switch it, you're not committed to finishing it on your easel. You can just put it away for a while.
Dionne,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know I love challenges, so I'm gonna have to challenge you on this one, because I think it's a great therapy. I
Look
mean,
at her.
not for all your paintings, but imagine there are things in life that actually take large amounts of time to complete or to come. So this is a great way to experience that not everything happens fast. Some things take time, and that's life.
Well,
It's probably hard for you watching something like this. It's not gonna be done at all by the time I'm done today.
I know I'm a really fast painter, and and flipping, and you know, just I'm definitely more abstract as well. So I'm loving what you're doing. This is not hard for me to watch you at all. Trust me, this is not hard. I'm loving this. I want to take your class. I want to come over. I want to hang out with you. Trust me, but I am.
Thank you.
I'm not as disciplined, I believe, as you, because I do want to go faster, and I do put up paintings, Nina, and bring them back out a couple of months later. If I did get bored, I'm like, you know what? Now I know what you need, and I will rework that, right? But the acrylic,
It's kind of like a more intense version of that. If you have it up and you're staring at it every day, and it goes by like a whole month, by the end of the month, you'll have a different idea on it than you did at the beginning.
You will. You'll have more life experiences. You have things that happen throughout the life. You have seasons that are changing. You have a rainy season or a hot season, or, you know, you have a vacation possibly. And I did that once. This hutch was right here behind me, ladies. I had these colors are called Blue Iris that I was allowed to name myself, and Water Lily. And I had a plan, like I had a whole plan how this makeover was going to go. And I found myself stuck in a creative block with my brand new colors and just felt really, really frustrated. And it was time for me to go to my Paris trip with my friends. And I didn't know that when I came home, I would be so completely inspired. And I knew exactly, as soon as I walked in the door, I set my bags down and I looked at it and I'm like, I know what's coming for you, girl. I know what's coming. I got it all. I had it all figured out. But I took that experience and seeing Paris, and I ended up naming her after Paris, because
Oh, that's lovely.
it was just one of those things where a whole 8 days had gone by and everything here had changed, right? For my experiences and my travels.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Kind of like your watercolor that you did in the journal. I imagine that you bring home those little pieces
Oh yeah.
in your
And
journal.
I think that's what the journal really helps with, is connecting that, connecting it visually to your memories, and it'll stick in your head, and you'll probably pull it out like times you don't even know that you're doing it subconsciously. It'll end up in your.
Absolutely. And tell me what you're doing now. Explain this process here.
So this is, I'm going kind of around the shadow into the medium tone of the wall and of the desk here, and just doing the same thing. I'm letting everything kind of mix together at this point on my brush. I just know that I want light colors, so I'm not washing out my brush, but I'm picking up some of the highlight tones, the white and the yellow, and letting it blend into everything I have. So it's muddy. It's not the highlight. It's just kind of going into the background, so I'm not trying to bring it out, but that way you can see a little bit more of a finished area here. And you can see that I didn't do anything. It's all kind of sketchy. It's nothing that's really set or detailed yet, but I'm blocking in where I see shadows and where I see highlights.
I'm loving it, Nina. It's so amazing. And I have a huge favor to ask you on behalf of our audience and the three of us, because we're not going to see the finished painting. Still, if you can, every 3 days or every week, send us a picture of how it's coming, because we really want to see how it, the whole process and how it ends.
I will, yeah, I'll post process of it. And this will probably be done. The underpainting of it will be done today, but the main thing, it'll be a while. So I can do a process update.
So will you also tell us a little bit about our subscribers for Bloom TV? I didn't catch how many videos you have on there, but what will viewers be able to see on your upcoming videos that you plan on having on Bloom TV?
Okay, sure. There's one video on there that's oil painting, and it's in 2 steps. It's a quick little oil painting in just 2 layers of hydrangeas. If you want to try out the oil painting, and that's a simple way with just a few colors. And then I have some watercolors, the travel journal that you saw the clip of.
Yes.
And I also have a couple of watercolor how-to on how to paint flowers. And so I think it's maybe 4 or 5 that are up there now.
That's beautiful. So everybody that's listening, you can go to Bloom TV Network. And if you're new here, I know we often have a lot of new viewers pop in, but you can go to bloomtvnetwork.com and you can subscribe. And I believe we have a coupon code for, you can get a free month. Your first month can be free. So if you go there, you can use that code FLOWERS and get your first month free, and it will suck you in and you will fall in love. We have over 100, well over 100 experts, and we are growing with our artists as well. But you can see videos from Anna and Kara and myself and Nina and all of our other guests here. It just goes on and on and on. So it's a great getaway. It's a great weekend of inspiration. But anyway, I wanted to make sure we threw that out there and mention everybody that you have additional videos on Bloom TV.
And it's really incredible that you can watch the videos from wherever you are. I mean, you can be on vacation, you can be at home, you can be waiting for your kids to get off from school. So you can use it on your cell phone, iPad, computer, wherever and whenever you feel like you want to see a video.
Yeah, and there is definitely a flower category for everyone on there. And you may even find yourself
Mhm.
diving into a category that you didn't even know that you wanted to learn something about. Like we have a lot of edible flower experts on there and that are cooking and creating things with flowers.
Oh yeah.
We have medicinal flower experts on there. We had some ladies on the show one time that showed us how to make a foot soak with dried flowers, which I thought was so fun.
That's
Of
cool.
course, we have the whole genre of gardening and flower farming if you want to learn how to grow flowers. We have lots of floral design videos on there and then artistic videos as well. I mean, there is really just, it's so much fun, so much content to dive into. So make sure you
Yeah.
guys use that free month coupon. I think you'll love it.
And
Absolutely.
we have a really incredible video that we just got in the system, the What Women Create with Holly, and I believe we have a short clip about it. Why don't we show it?
Yeah, let's play that.
I don't always have an expectation for my harvest when I go out there. I sort of let what's available dictate what I make. And when I'm outside, I don't overthink it at all. I'm told. I listen to the wind tells me. I listen to the garden, it tells me what to pick. That's part of the art of the whole thing, is that you have no idea. You don't know what the garden is going to give you that day. Once I come in with everything is really when kind of the creative juices get flowing and I decide what's going to happen.
Oh my goodness, you guys, if you want to watch that entire video, you can do that also on Bloom TV. You do not actually have to be a subscriber. It's there for you free to watch. And Holly is what's the word? I mean, she's just,
Powerhouse.
Powerhouse.
And edible
Powerhouse. That is absolutely true. She shows us how to dry flowers and all of the different things that she does. Her Instagram is like a candy store of visuals. So make sure you're checking out Holly as well. But we also have a clip from our girl Anna right here. It's been a really good month for Bloom TV, and we want to show that a little clip of that as well, because this is another little video clip you can see on Bloom.
Oh, we don't have it anymore. We don't have that clip to show it to you guys, but I made a video on the magic of edible flowers, and it's free on Bloom TV, and it's in Spanish, but it has subtitles in English. And Dionne here can tell you that it's easy to go through.
Oh
it.
yeah.
You don't understand a word.
Yeah, it's absolutely easy. I loved watching every single bit of it. And even though with the subtitles, I found myself not even really reading them because I was so enthralled by what I was seeing on the screen. So beautiful, beautiful videos. This week I was prepping for Nina's and I was kind of scrolling through her Instagram and I saw a lot of hydrangea, which is something that I still have blooming. And even though I went and kind of foraged, you guys know how I do. I just grab stuff. Like I grabbed some ivy and I grabbed some potato vine. Do you guys have potato vine growing like crazy where you guys live?
No, you know what we have growing crazy that's a vine is passion flower vine.
Oh,
Okay, well, I don't have that, but potato vine, it grows and you can't kill it. I mean, it's impossible. So I always like that, but I started putting that together and it reminded me of a little video that I had where I wanted to kind of create a studio day, an art day. And so I put together a little video and then I clipped it down for us today. If we don't mind playing just a little short video of me foraging
Wanted to take advantage of all of the green lushness around our house. This ivy grows like crazy in the summertime, but like with any other ivy, it's going to die off very soon as the cooler temps start to set in the evening and night. So I am collecting some of this, and this is just crepe myrtles, my hydrangea, and I wanted to put together an arrangement so I could use it for inspiration in my studio. Hydrangeas, I think, are pretty easy to paint. I feel like it's just an easy cluster of color, and you can't really go wrong with that. So I'm just kind of grabbing some things and hanging on to the last few days of summer. And I'm using my blue and white china. I love the blue and white. I have a antique hutch over off of the camera to the side here where I store all of that in my wedding china, which we never use at all. And the fact that my dress matched, well, that was just random. I promise that wasn't planned at all. But I'm grabbing some of my Japanese maple and using that for the contrast. I think that'll be really pretty in a painting as well. As the summer goes on, typically my hydrangea fades out a little bit. It gets pretty warm, but it always perks back up in the fall. By September, it starts to perk back up and the color gets intense again, which I love the shade of these hydrangea. So without a plan, I'm just kind of cramming all of that in there, as many blooms as possible. And I love how it turned out.
That was so beautiful. I was like, oh.
Oh, well, it makes me sad that all of that's going to kind of die off, really, really quickly. So either way, Nina, you're completely and totally inspiring. And I love that you pull flowers and set them up and still lifes. Again, still life is another thing that's intimidating to me. So this has just been an absolute joy to have you on here and show us how to work through this.
Yeah, it's been fun, and it's been fun to try like explaining how I do stuff that I haven't really put a lot of thought into in a while. So
yeah. You're a delight to listen and watch, and thank you so much. And everyone here in the comments, it's like, yes, we want to see the process. We want to see how it turns out. So
you post how it turns out.
Pictures, please, or tag us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nina.
We have a winner from last week. So for those of you that have been submitting and putting in your email address every single week, we are giving away, or I'm not, but Bloom is giving away an annual subscription to Bloom TV. Okay. And you can submit to that as well by going to Bloom TV, going up, make sure I say the right thing. You click on Flowers and Friends. And click here for our weekly giveaway. And not only are you going to get an annual subscription to Bloom, I'm going to send you some free paint, which I love to do. And every single week we do that. And this week's winner is my girl.
Oh, Marlise Walker.
My Marlis, it's so bad because Marlis's name is no longer Marlis Walker. She's my Marlis. And so Marlis is like family to me. And so Marlis, my girl, I'm going to send you a text because I don't know if you're going to see this today or not, but you won, my Marlis. You all, she's one of the biggest supporters of the Turquoise Iris. She helps me with retreats, and she's a beautiful person. And I couldn't think of anybody. I know. It's so great to see the support and the generosity of Bloom TV.
Before we go, I want to say something from the comments. Everyone loved your dress, Dionne. Everyone's like in English and in Spanish. Like, tu vestido, her dress, the basket. Yes.
Thank you. It was lemons, and I had not really worn the dress before, so thank you. That was fun. You know me, I like my floral dresses and my lemon dresses and all that kind of stuff. But also, Kara, we have something we need to do for sure before we go today, right?
Say goodbye. We thank our sponsors.
Oh, I'm like, what?
I'm like, just jumping, right? Like jumping. I'm sorry. I should have given more information than that.
We are live, everyone. We are live. All right. Yes, we want to thank our sponsors so much for sponsoring Bloom TV and our show today. Let's play a little video clip, and we'll be right back to say goodbye.
We have built the world's first flower-focused streaming network, bringing the public educational and entertaining shows that highlight the magic of flowers. Learn how to heal through flowers, cook with flowers, design your living space to reflect nature, make crafts using florals, sustainably garden, and so much more. We are your network for all things floral. Join us at Bloom TV as we help bring beauty to the lives of people and the planet through nature's most beautiful creation, the flower.
Who do we have next week coming on? You guys tease everybody a little bit because I won't be here, but you guys have some pretty impressive powerhouses coming on.
Yes, we have someone coming on to talk about sunflowers. And we may dive into floral design as well.
Awesome.
It's going to be an incredible show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. Remember, we are here every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, noon Mountain time, and 1 p.m. East Coast. And then
it's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're on somewhere. Yes, but make sure if you guys can't ever make our show live, remember that you can always watch our shows for free on bloomtvnetwork.com. Yes.
Absolutely. That's a great one. And Nina is going to probably come back for another show. I see you guys asking when she's going to be back on.
Yep.
We will have her back on again sometime, maybe when it gets a little more into fall, and she can kind of instruct us through something like that. But guys, go tune in right now and subscribe. You can watch her videos. She said 4 or 5 right now today. Enjoy the weekend. And ladies, thank you so much for spending your Fridays with me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Everybody else, Kara, tell us why this show is the #1 rated show all in the land.
Right, because everything is better with flowers and friends. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week. Bye.